Hello friends, hope your preparations are going smooth. Now Ekam IAS has introduced a new program which goes by the name Lucid Mains Current Affairs. Now we call it Lucid because we are going to help ease your preparation, simplify your preparation in a lucid manner. Also through this we intend to make you learn a topic, understand and comprehend the same topic, make you able enough to interpret that topic, and then develop the right knowledge required for the topic. Yeah, so you can access some materials for each topic by clicking on the link in the description below. And yeah, also you may not find verbatim words in these slides as in the material. So please consider these slides as add-ons or value additions to the material. So moving on, we have today's topic, plastic pollution. Now, plastic pollution has become a global concern, a critical global concern that the international community is trying to address at the earliest. Now, most of the climate organization and frameworks are considering it as a high priority task. For example, we have the theme of World Environment Day 2018, for which India was the host, Beat Plastic Pollution. And for Earth Day 2018, we had the theme as End Plastic Pollution by 2020. So if you see these words like beat shows that we are on a war footing against plastic pollution. And 2020, the deadline itself is an indication highlighting the urgency of the matter. Now, plastic, which is considered as a valuable resource, yeah, for its, why? Because of its multi-applications and multi-characteristics. Multi-application in the sense that, you look around, there are a lot of things that is being used is made of plastic. For example, your automobiles, your stationery items, or for that matter, the toothbrush that we use. So, right from your complicated stuff to your very simple use that you use on a daily basis, most of it are made of plastics. And multi-characteristics. One of the major reasons why we use plastic is because of its economical nature. It's very economic. You don't have to pay much to get a plastic. Second, it is very flexible. You can mold it into any desired shape or size. Third, you may call waterproof, and there are many others. So now the question is, how does such a valuable resource like plastic turn into a pollutant? The answer is because of its non-biodegradable nature. The plastics tend to accumulate in the environment and cause pollution. Therefore, the real problem that we are trying to address here is littering of the plastics. Now, UN Environment has made a very humorous, very funny statement. At the same time, the gravity of the statement is also very huge. The statement was, by the time the international cricket player Hardik Pandya bowls an over, about 4 garbage trucks of plastics are dumped in ocean. So you see how grave the matter is. Now these plastics, what happens if you do not recycle properly? The key word here is recycle. If you do not recycle it properly, it enters into human and wildlife system, which is likely to cause more health issues. We know a lot of problem that can be caused through direct contact with plastics. But there are also ways wherein indirectly the plastics get into a system. For example, through a food chain. The microbeads that are there in your face wash and all, they also are a source of major plastic pollution. Now, the major issue here is, despite being a hazard, banning single-use plastics is not the solution. And it is not practical also. One, because there are multitude of industries, there are parallel industries that depend directly or indirectly on plastics. For example, the milk packet that you use, dairy industries itself dependent on plastics for their packaging. Yeah, and then there's a huge population also involved in various industries associated with plastic. Therefore, a ban on plastic can affect their livelihood, which is likely to put their livelihood at stake. Now, the major plastic pollutant, which is single-use plastic. Now, the single-use plastic, the word itself is self-explanatory. Now, plastics that we use for a single time. Example, take your chocolate wrapper, your shampoo sachets, etc. The cutleries that you use in your weddings. And with respect to India, we are the second largest populous country in the world. And area-wise, we are the 7th largest. So, you see, the quantum of waste that is likely to be generated is also going to be very huge. And these single-use plastic, they constitute the major chunk of plastic pollution. So, this majority of plastic waste ends up in landfills, blocks the drain in cities, clogs water bodies, etc. Now, we have a legislative mechanism in place called the Plastic Waste Management Amended Rules. Now, they have introduced, this rule has introduced a very novel concept called and it strengthens that concept called extended producer responsibility. Now, extended producer responsibility, it means the producer of plastic, he has an extended responsibility, which means he has an added responsibility wherein he is legally bound to collect back all the plastic waste that has been generated by him. Now, we have two interesting case studies, two international case studies of Sweden and Rwanda, which is in Africa. Now, Sweden does not believe in banning plastics. Instead, it believes more of recycling. So, they have this policy called no plastic ban, instead more plastic recycling. So, when they do this, it is 1% or maybe even more lesser than 1% of Sweden's household waste that goes into a landfill dump. And but exact opposite is Rwanda. Now, Rwanda, what it believes in is strict enforcement of plastic ban. So strict that if you violate it, you know, already you're going to face penalties for it, which includes imprisonment as well. And talking about a national example here, a case study, that would be your Kerala Green Protocol. Now, this Green Protocol is a concept where all your government offices, it is mandatory for all your government offices, and it is based on the 3 R's. Like, you know, going by the order, it would be reduce, reuse and recycle it. So, what needs to be done? What is the way forward? Now, many a times when you write answers, we do miss out on keywords. Like, we may be reaching at the point, but not using keywords can cost you marks. So, ensure that you have this keywords in place. First would be your segregation of waste. Now, segregation of waste where? Segregation of waste at the municipal level, like dry waste, wet waste, etc. Now, second would be your better waste management using sophisticated technology. Example, your polymer injection. Now, why sophisticated technology? Because if you use conventional ones, what happens is, if they're not recycled properly and if they do not incinerate properly, what happens is, it is instead going to add more toxicity, which in a way is going to do more harm than good. Yeah. Then is your buyback mechanism. Now, buyback mechanism is similar to what you call your extended producer's responsibility, wherein you're buying back and then you are being incentivized for giving it back to them. And the very most important and very crucial one is behavioral change. Now, behavioral change in the sense self-regulation and self-awareness. Now, my very own example. Last year I was using a lot of pens and I was trying to dump it. And then one of my friends comes and asks me, why can't I use a refill or why can't I use an ink pen for that matter? So, we may not realize it, but these small things would make a big difference. So, self-regulation and self-awareness is the key. And sustainable alternatives for day-to-day use. For example, you can use your jute bags for grocery, etc. Also, bioplastics also can be considered as a long-term solution. So, we spoke at length about the varied use and advantage of plastics and all. So, banning plastic is never the solution because plastic consumption is only going to increase. But so, banning would not be the ideal or practical point at this stage. Instead, we can recycle it but to another useful product. And these recycled product can be made in such a way that these have an extended shelf life and which can be commercialized, so that through this commercialization we can help revive our economy instead of getting these stuffs accumulated as waste. For example, they can be used in the construction sector, you can use it in the textile sector, and another example would be your polyethylene waste, which can be turned into filaments that can instead be used in 3D printings, etc. So that's all for the day.